Today on the LA Food Podcast, did the New York Times go too far in its takedown of an LA legend? New York Times food critic Tejal Rao gave Beverly Hills icon Spago the skin-crawlingly mid-label of satisfactory in a bombshell review this week. On Chef's Kiss Big Miss, we ponder whether this classification was fair, gratuitous, or just complete and utter nonsense. Also on Chef's Kiss Big Miss, bold new legislation that promises to ease the life of California restaurants, our tips for eating 3 daily meals in LA for less than $25, and a heartbreaking food-related consequence of the ongoing government shutdown. But first, LA Food Pod TV correspondent Father Saul is finally earning his supper by guiding us through an in-depth review of Netflix's Next Gen Chef. Did the LeBron James-produced cooking competition show impress our critic? Does he think it deserves another season? And how does it stack up to his beloved Top Chef? Listen to find out. Quick plug, next week is our 150th episode, dear listener. Thank you so much for taking this delicious, deranged ride with us. In honor of our 150th, we're going to be doing our first ever Q&A episode. This is your chance to ask us your most burning questions, like why does Saul hate Middle Eastern food so much? Or are you ever going to respond to the grumpy old podcasters who tried to start a beef with you? Submit your questions by DMing me on Instagram at the LA Countdown or It's Acquired Taste. We can't wait to see what you've got in store for us. A reminder that the LA Food Podcast is presented by the Acquired Taste Media Network. Be sure to listen to our sister podcast, Taqueando, with Bill Esparza, who this week dropped an epic rant on why he hates breakfast burritos. Be sure to leave Taqueando and this podcast a rating or review wherever you listen. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Servodio, and without further ado, it's time to chow down. The LA Food Podcast is presented by The Lonely Oyster. Unwind at The Lonely Oyster's Echo Park Night Watch. Did you know that every night is industry night at The Lonely Oyster, dear listener? Stroll in after 10 p.m. nightly for a one-of-a-kind experience designed for the night owls and hospitality pros. Indulge in $12 handshake cocktails, expertly crafted liquid chef concoctions, delicious late-night hot bites, and chef's choice dozen oysters. More than just a place to unwind, The Lonely Oyster warmly welcomes industry professionals, providing a space where like-minded individuals can connect, relax, and enjoy the camaraderie that comes with the late-night scene. Whether you're looking to kick back after a long shift or simply enjoy the vibrant atmosphere, late night at the Lonely Oyster is the perfect rendezvous for those who appreciate good company and great food and drinks. Don't miss this nightly affair and let the good times roll at the Lonely Oyster. Welcoming back to the LA Food Podcast, a man who I assume has spent the day getting VJ Edgecomb tattooed across his lower back. Saul, be honest, how much did it hurt?
Hurt a lot, but worth every minute, worth every pinprick, because I'm so fucking back, baby. The Sixers are back. We beat the Celtics to start the season. I'm so happy. You realize it's all downhill from here, right? You know what? You're gonna laugh at me. I don't know if it is, man. I think we could just be. Joel was terrible. I think maybe. I mean, he looked really bad, but possibly he'll look better in the future. Our young backcourt is all good vibes. Jerry McCain going to come back from injury. I know no one listening gives a shit about this, but it's literally been life changing. It's a life changing 12 hours. I am so excited about how disappointed you are bound to be come I'm going to say February or March. I think that's when you're going to start pulling your hair out. It could be December. Yeah, it could be December. Let's be honest. We the way this usually goes, could be earlier. Hey, the sooner the better for me, honestly. So I love Desperate Saul because that's also when you make some of your worst decisions, including when you get really risky with bets with me, and I love that. You're the one who gets tilted on bets. I don't make shitty bets. When have I ever done a unwise bet with you? I see you get tilted after. Anyway, it's a conversation for another time. Yeah, maybe I'm just projecting. That wouldn't be the first time. I think you might be. Anything good you've eaten recently? Republique this week, man. Ooh. Fucking really nice. That's a good restaurant, my man. That is a good restaurant. How long had it been since have you never been before? No, I went like 10 years ago.
Wow.
Went back, got the baguette with butter and pan drippings because you got to do that. Had some crudo, had 3 of their pastas. This campanelle was fucking really good with lobster and a little bit of cod as a main dish. It was fucking just a really, really good dinner. It was good. I mean, I want to go back almost. I was like with my cousin and Emily, and like we were catching up a lot. You know, when you're like at dinner, when you're catching up with someone you haven't seen for a long time, and that almost takes over like the food and what you're eating. I kind of want to go back and just kind of focus on the food. And like try more of the menu and stuff like that. But it was just a really great experience.
Last time I went, I actually got breakfast with our old boss Latia, and breakfast at Republique,
no way.
I think, is like the most epic meal there, arguably.
That's what people say, right? The breakfast and the brunches is what you have to go. I've never been to that, I will say. I would love to check that out one day. Saw our friend Latia this week also. We need to catch up with her.
No way. Okay. It all comes full circle. I haven't been to Republique probably in 8 years for dinner, and that's because we went one time with a gift card from another old boss of mine. My wife got horribly sick, so it's just yeah. So it's just kind of like, I'm sure it wasn't the restaurant's fault. Like, you know, I'm not trying to like dox Republique or anything or shame them. It's a very quality restaurant. It's been around a long time for a reason. But you know, sometimes when you have an experience like that, it just kind of like sticks in your brain, and you're like not itching to go back.
Yeah. That's a natural response. Unfortunate, but yeah.
Maybe one day we'll have a redemption tour at Republique. I've been heavy on the burger grind, so much so that I honestly can't wait for this year to be over, my dude. But there have been a couple really good experiences. One, I've been hearing really good things about the burgers at both Courtney Kaplan and Charles Namba restaurants, Ototo and Camellia. I decided to go to Ototo first. The only problem with that is I decided to go last Thursday, which happened to be when the Dodgers swept the Brewers. I didn't like realize that the game was happening on the earlier end. I thought it was going to be like at a normal hour.
This is rookie moves, dude. This is a rookie move.
It is such a rookie move. My wife and I both sat in like an hour and a half of traffic, me coming from one direction, her coming from another. She was so pissed, and not to mention, she was craving some hard alcohol. Of course, they only serve beer and sake. So turns out she doesn't really like sake.
So we know your shitty Yelp review of the week. Dude, we used to live next to Dodger Stadium. You know, literally at the office downtown, we were like, hey, we got to get out of here early. Because who knows what's going to happen. I
just didn't think about the timing of the game. I kind of like checked out of the Brewers series when they were up 2-0 in Milwaukee, because I was like, yeah, well, we know how this is going to end. I just didn't even check the time. I didn't even truly realize there was a game happening that day. It was actual bedlam, and it may have colored how much I enjoyed the burger. And I enjoyed it a lot, probably because I really needed some comfort in that moment. It's almost like a riff on a chili cheeseburger, but like with Japanese accents. It's really interesting. I don't know. Have you ever you've been to Tsubaki, right?
Yes, I've been to Tsubaki and Ototo. Yeah, I went to Ototo with Isa and Emily, I think. Yeah, fan of both. We should have gone way more when we lived there. It's like a really, really two great little gems.
Missed opportunity. Well, so that was one, Ototo, excellent burger in horrific traffic. The other thing I had was last night, another burger at OyBar in Studio City. Have you heard of that?
I have not.
It's a converted oyster bar that's for like the last 10 years or so has been sort of like reimagined and sort of modernized by a gentleman by the name of Jeff Strauss, who interestingly, in a previous life was a writer on the show Friends, which I know you hate. He owns that, and he also owns Jeff's Table, the sandwich shop in Highland Park. And it's like you kind of walk in and you feel like you're in an East Coast dive bar. Like, you know, I swear like I was a construction worker on Long Island or something. The food, however, is like way better than it needs to be. They've got like a all greens salad with like a slight miso dressing. The burger the Oi burger is fantastic. It's almost like a riff on a banh mi.
Ooh.
Lots of vegetables in there, some Hoisin barbecue sauce, perfectly cooked patty, and I think I'm starting to understand what a perfectly cooked patty is after 80 plus burgers. They nailed it. I wasn't expecting this. I truly wasn't, because I'd had the Oi burger before, and I remember being kind of like meh, but now that I've had a ton of burgers, I think that the Oi burger may be top three.
Top three.
It's that good.
Wow. And you just posted your top 10 of the first 75, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Drama.
Predictably is receiving some hate, but yeah, in the
That's because you keep putting the fucking apple pan on there, man. It's gross.
it's not gross. Have you been?
It's gross. I've ordered it. I've had the apple pan burger.
You can't order it. You can't order it.
Of course you can order it. It's a burger. I mean, I understand. You can go and have it. That sauce just does not work for me, dude. It just does not.
Don't order the hickory burger. Order a different burger.
That's what the whole thing's supposed to be. I guess I can do that. I'll go back and try I'll go for the first time, try the non-hickory burger. Let me just say I'm with the anti crowd. I understand it's an institution. I understand all that. It's great. That's fine. It's not a top 10 burger. It just can't be.
You know what though? Unfortunately, the way the rubric works, it does take into account things like experience and history and stuff. That definitely gets it a couple points that maybe knocks it up the top 10, but I just like it, man. I think it's a really tight construction. I'm a big lettuce boy.
I know.
I love the crispy lettuce, and that's got lots of it in there. I think they've got a really nice crust on the patty. I am a fan of that kind of sweet smoky barbecue sauce. It kind of reminds me of like what In-N-Out might have been back in like the 1960s, you know, like it kind of like is a time capsule to when a fast food burger was actually super high quality. No shade on In-N-Out. I think for fast food, In-N-Out is still excellent, but I don't know. Apple pan to me just works.
Yeah, I'll give the non-hickory burger a shot. I remember, look, there's ways to do hickory or barbecue sauce on a burger correctly. The Benjamin being a great example of that. And I remember when we had that, I was like,
yeah,
this is a perfect compliment to the burger, this flavor. Whereas that apple pan is like slathered on and just like overwhelms everything. I'm just eating barbecue sauce. I don't want that. Anyway. No more hate. I'm not trying to get canceled here.
Yes, you are, first of all. People hate the Benjamin way more than they hate the apple pan, by the way.
Really? With the burger?
Dude, like the top two like themes of comments that I get in those lists are one, apple pan hate, closely tied with Benjamin hate.
Is that about the price though? Or is it about the actual burger?
Maybe it's because there's more to hate, right? Because like, yes, it's extremely high in price, but I think people also go there and get underwhelmed, probably because there's hype around it, and it is a high price tag, and also some people just find it off-putting for some reason. I don't know. They do tend to cook their burgers a little more on the rare side, and I get some comments that are like, oh, that's basically tartare, and people have a tartare version, it would seem. I love that shit. For me, like, the juicier the better.
Yeah, those people are wrong. That's a good burger. that's a very good burger, just inarguably.
Finally, I hate to give corporate America a shout out, but we were like getting home super late from Palm Springs this weekend, and we needed to order something, and Chipotle was on the brain for some reason. Have you tried their new red chimichurri sauce?
No, I actually have eaten Chipotle kind of recently, actually, because there's one near our office downtown, but I always get the same thing. You get your brown rice, black beans, chicken, pico, medium, guac, done. Lettuce on there. That's the order.
Bowl or burrito?
Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's like the skinny boy order.
Is it really? I mean, it's just kind of, it's literally like the first thing I ordered when I went, and I just, you know me, dude. I like get my one thing, and then that's the thing, right? That's like what you get.
I was doing the skinny bowl for a while, not going to lie, but I recently switched over to barbacoa and pinto beans, and I think that is an elite combination. Also, this red chimichurri that they have, it's basically just like a super vinegary, like garlicky sauce, and I think that adds an intrigue to Chipotle that it often lacks. Like, it's like, yes, you get some like acidity with like lime-based sauces and whatnot, but the sort of like kick in the pants that the vinegary chimichurri gives you, it makes it feel like just a completely different restaurant that I've never, like, you could put that on the exact same thing you've ordered a million times. Because it's got such a unique flavor profile for Chipotle, it changes everything. Sorry, this isn't a fast food podcast, but I just really wanted to shout them out.
Is this a salsa, or is this like a kind of add-on you get at the end? Like what?
It's like a salsa.
It's like
a salsa.
Poured on it. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Or you order it on the side.
The way you describe it reminds me of Shop House almost. R.I.P. to the great Shop House.
The concept that should have made it, but didn't. All right, well, that's enough for recent eats. Let's stop talking about food we ate, and let's talk about food we saw cooked on TV. Now, Saul, you often say that the only thing you're qualified to speak to is food television. Lucky for you, there's a hot new food television show on Netflix that I tried to sell you on a couple weeks ago, and I understand you finally watched it. Do you want to tell our listeners what it is?
It is Next Gen Chef. I think the best new food competition show on the scene. A lot of fun. Really glad we have it.
Okay, so right off the bat, Saul liked it. Saul, for our listeners who missed our previous episodes in which we chef kiss or big miss this, can you give sort of a lay of the land of what Next Gen Chef is?
Yeah, so it's basically a group of 20 or so young chefs, all under the age of 30, who take on a series of essentially culinary school final exams at the CIA. I think it's a New York branch of the CIA.
Yeah. Is there another one?
I think they have different campuses. Yeah, but it's like the main Culinary Institute of America. 20 or so young chefs taking on challenges from baking to unfamiliar international cuisines to designing a restaurant concept or a dish concept to getting and applying feedback. All like kind of slightly different from what you like a straightforward just food challenge you might see on like a Top Chef. This also had elements of like, you know, the skill sets you need to be a successful chef and leader. The show is guided and judged by Kelsey Bernard Clark and Carlton McCoy, who are immediately, I think, at the top of the echelon, rivaling Tom, Gale, and Kristen as some of the best in the business. Olivia Culpo is also there, and the prize is $500,000, which is twice. I think it's twice the Top Chef prize, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
the $250K. Though Top Chef comes with other benefits and so on. But that's the show. I can talk more about the structure of each episode, but that's the elevator pitch. That
was a really good elevator pitch, bro. I don't like to give you compliments, but you earned that one. We're not going to do spoilers right now. We're going to do some spoilery takes at the end after Shitty Yelp review, but for now we're just going to sort of cover big picture. Look, I sensed a little hesitation in you in watching this show, a little bit of resistance. Did you have some like subconscious like Top Chef loyalty you were abiding by?
It wasn't that. It was two things. It's one, it's Netflix. And Netflix to me, the way I consume it now, it just seems like not urgent to me. The same is true with Black Rabbit. Like I really want to watch Black Rabbit, the fictional like you know, restaurant / mafia or something show that's on Netflix. But I'm like, yeah, it's right there. I'll go see. It doesn't feel like the urgency of a week to week that a Top Chef does. And look, I'll be honest, we've been burned before.
Yes, we have.
We've had Secret Chef, right? And I was like, I don't know. I've seen a lot of like Netflix has experimented with a lot in the food television competition space, right? You had Final Table, which is pretty good, and there's other stuff that like has been hit or miss. So I was like, is it really going to be that great? It was your recommendation that kind of made me go, okay, I can't forget to go check this out. So that was it. It was mostly the platform and, you know, not wanting to get burned. I don't want to get burned, right? And get sucked into a show that's not paying off.
Now, LeBron James, actually, his production company helped produce this. How hands-on do you think the king was on this?
Oh, highly, I'm sure. Yeah, he's on. I'm sure, dude. He's gonna do one of those things where he like weirdly lies for no reason. He's like, I was telling Kelsey Bernard Clark, you know, this is the future of television. This is the future of food TV, man. I saw it coming. Yeah. No, I'm guessing not very much.
No. Although, you know what? I was wondering if like, because I did feel like the competition aspect of this was a lot more like cutthroat than on like Top Chef or Final Table or these other shows for some reason. Yes, there's the like camaraderie that comes up whenever you have one of these shows where the chefs like help each other out and, you know, they form friendships and whatnot. Maybe it's just because these people are young up-and-comers and it is a hefty prize at $500,000. But I just felt like these people would have like sold each other down the river to win this prize.
Yeah, there was less sort of there was less overall camaraderie that you might see in a Top Chef and less sort of face to camera about the experience. But I think there was a decent amount of like respect among the chefs. They were highly complimentary of each other. They would help each other out. I think they felt bad when certain people like messed up or had to leave. I think some of the editing might have led to like it was just very focused on the competition elements of the show, right? More so than, you know, the Top Chef, we're exploring Wisconsin and hey, here's this cool stuff. Like we are in the CIA. Every day is about the challenges, kind of more narrowly focused in that way. And that might give that impression.
Speaking of the challenges, what'd you think? Did they work for you or were they a little cookie cutter?
No, they worked pretty well. I think there were some kinks to figure out here and there. One of my favorite things about the show and like the twist that makes it work, the twist that like differentiates it is the inclusion of CIA faculty as overseers of the challenge. One of my favorite things they did is that when Kelsey and Carlton and Olivia give the brief, right? One, I like that the challenges vary from like, hey, make a good dish to, hey, you're going to be experimenting and building a dish. You want to consider how to take and apply feedback here.
Yeah.
Or, we need a restaurant concept. You need to be considering like ingredients, prices, marketing, right? Like one of my favorite things that Top Chef does every so often when they might do a restaurant war is like, there's the, hey, you have to run a service with all these twists. I like the challenges quite a lot. And the inclusion of faculty from CIA overseeing it, both as like, kind of like guideposts at times, but also folks who can then, after the challenge, go to Kelsey and Carlton and Olivia and say what they observed and provide that like feedback of the actual performance. That immediately paid off in episode 1, where one of the contestants had essentially saved another contestant's dish. And the judges loved the second contestant's dish. They're like, oh my God, she's confident. She knows what she's doing. And the faculty came in and they're like, yeah, that's actually other chef's dish, right? He's that's all him. And I just love that clarity was there as part of the judging process.
Yeah, I like that too. I kind of like the fact that it sort of forces the judges to take things other than food into consideration, which I don't think happens on Top Chef. Like on Top Chef, they really keep it focused on the final dish and sort of the execution. Recently, they've been trying to take into consideration, like, the quick fires plus the challenges, et cetera, et cetera. But on this show, when you have that like snitch basically there afterwards to be like, yo, this dude really fucked up, or Abby worked really slow, or this person worked really messy, right? You kind of like, or my favorite moments were when, the judges would tell the contestants to pivot, or the contestants were forced to pivot because of the challenge, and the faculty was able to relay to the judges, they basically didn't pivot at all, or they did, but they really did it in about the laziest way possible that they could have possibly done. Like it added, because sometimes that's the frustrating part of watching these shows is you see this shit happening in the background, but you can't scream through your TV to the judges to be like, yo, this person, you don't understand what a train wreck this person was. The faculty accomplishes that, and there's something super satisfying about that.
100%, and you're also nailing something which I think also differentiates the show and makes it so enjoyable to watch, which is that they are not just judging the food. They're judging these young chefs more holistically as to how they relate to each other and lead and think on their feet, right? Top Chef famously is like, what's on the plate? We will judge what's on the plate. And those are more experienced chefs, right? I think this is probably the level of skill is maybe one level below a Top Chef, right? Like
in some cases, a few.
Oh yeah. There's a range, right? They have like everyone, we should mention the contestants here are everyone from like, sous chefs or even executive chefs at like really famous kitchens like Per Se, Charlie Parker Steakhouse, stuff like that, which are and have been, talent pipelines into Top Chef in the past. And you could see some of the best chefs here possibly, keeping up with the Top Chef, all the way down to like private chefs who haven't been in the kitchen for a minute and are really just basically like hanging on for dear life throughout the show. What makes this so cool in terms of the way they give feedback is that they are looking for people who can communicate, lead. I remember, and even to the point where it's like, hey, I'd want to work with this person. Kelsey says at one point, like, I would hire them for X reasons. And Carlton's like, I did or didn't like how they took accountability for a decision, right? Or how they took feedback and applied it. And they really rewarded people who did and were able to do that in a smooth way, right? They actually eliminate someone, as a sort of a spoiler, I guess, but like a chef is eliminated for not taking feedback well, essentially, right? Because they're worried about like his ability to do that. That sort of holistic 3D judging I loved it. I think that's like a really, really cool way to approach a challenge like this.
It was cool, and I didn't think it like neutered Kelsey Barnard Clark or Carlton McCoy in any way. Like so you could think like, does it take away some of their power by like giving some of that power to the faculty? Like absolutely not. Anything, it just made them more powerful judges. Now, to your point though, they're judging them on more than just their cooking chops, and that's the entire like theme of the show. They're looking for next gen chef, the sort of next generation chef. Did they successfully deliver on exploring that concept? Meaning, I still think at the end of the day, it was kind of a who cooks the best food show. There wasn't necessarily a focus on like what it means to be next gen. I think there was one contestant that I think was bringing something extremely different to the party, and that's Elka, because she had this like really unique background of being like South African / Namibian, but grew up in the South. So the type of food she was cooking was unique, but also the way she led in the kitchen was also very unique too. It was more so like leading by doing and like empowering others. And sometimes it really bit her in the ass, but like it was definitely like a method of working that you don't typically associate with some of these shows. But other than that, I kind of just felt like it was the most badass chefs who like did well and got the plaudits.
I mean, sure. I think that definitely is true. There wasn't a chef that like was a middling cook, but such a good leader or interactor that they were able to overcome in different challenges, right?
Yeah.
It's more that when they awarded the chef, they did, I think they of course weighted heavily to like who can cook the best and considered other aspects. I mean, there's cases where, in the finale, I don't want to spoil, but what I will say is like decisions about how chefs would empower or lead other chefs certainly became, and that's also translated into the food, right? It more paints which I think happens on Top Chef as well. Like in a finale, they draft certain people as their sous chefs, and then maybe they draft someone, you're like, really, you're drafting them for that? It pays off in the food, but maybe not in the edit, right? In the same way. Whereas this show shows you in the kitchen and shows you faculty like observing how bad decisions or good decisions are paying off, right? And kind of drawing that thread all the way through. I should also mention the faculty become characters in the show themselves.
Yeah.
Like Rashara Evans was one of my favorite. They each have like their kind of expertise areas and personalities. There's a French chef who's just fucking hilarious in one of the challenges, who like watches someone try to make this risotto with the wrong kind of rice and it's just like shaking his head. It's like, can't believe, he's like, it's terrible. It's shit. Like, you can't help it. So like anyway, like the question you asked was, does it pay off on the concept of next gen chef? Look, next gen chef is a bit like corny as maybe a branding idea.
Yeah, that was probably where LeBron came in, actually.
Yeah, yeah, and so maybe that like it kind of, I think it's also why I didn't just rush to it right away. It just kind of like was a bit of a clunky sort of headline on the thing a little bit, but I think it did well enough because these are young people. These are like generally young people, right? 29 to 20, right? 20, 29 years old. And watching them sort of take on the challenge and how they approach it, I thought was really interesting. And look, it's a competition show. It's ultimately television. So you're not like, they emerge ready to take on the world, but like the gamut of challenges and the way that the winners and the top chefs in the end finalists navigated them, I thought worked pretty well as like hey, I think these like they were deserving in the end at the very least.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. One thing that really struck me while I was watching this is how much I enjoyed the judges' dynamic. And you said Olivia Culpo was just there. I actually thought Olivia Culpo did better than I was expecting Olivia Culpo to do. Like, she actually had some like funny verbal flubs that she kind of like made fun of herself for and stuff. And I think she had a good relationship with Kelsey Bernard Clark and Carlton McCoy. I also thought Kelsey Bernard Clark and Carlton McCoy themselves had like a fun dynamic where they were kind of like ribbing each other and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I thought they brought the perfect balance of like empathy and gravitas to the show. Yep. Frankly, it made me feel a little like Tom and Gail are a little tired at this point. Could Top Chef benefit from a refresh?
Okay, that's a different question. What I will answer is, what I will speak to is, first of all, Olivia Culpo, I was being a little tongue in cheek when I said that. She actually provides it is a nice little compliment. Like her sort of she's a little fish out of water a little bit, but in a fun way.
How dare you? She's a restaurateur.
A restaurateur, dude. Yo, actually, so Emily went to summer camp one year with Olivia Culpo, and watching this show actually sparked like kind of we watched the entire Culpo Sisters documentary, like reality after this, I would just say. And it's a really kind of fascinating and weird little family they got going on there. But her like, the way she fits in personality wise, you could see working right alongside Kelsey, who is just the fucking star of the show. We should just say like Carlton is the perfect 1B to her, and you're right, they do have a good compliment, but I think it's Kelsey's personality, her expertise, and her gravitas, and Carlton's as well. Carlton has I really like Carlton like as a persona, and the way that he balances feedback and positivity and like seriousness and lightness. They really, those two in particular, Kelsey and Carlton, like make the show great. And they have just coming through the screen, and this could be because it is sort of like a school set show. It's like third grade teacher vibes in the coolest way. Or like, no. You know what it is? It's like AP English teacher in high school, right? Like the person who's has a ton of authority, but is like kind of the cool teacher.
Yeah, sits on the edge of the desk.
Exactly. And she can like be stern at the perfectly right time. They can be stern at the right time. They can be cool at the right time. Like they had that energy, and I fucking loved it. Right? It's really now to your Top Chef piece, Kelsey is, I think, a kind of voice that Top Chef. I think Tom used to be more on Top Chef. He still is, but in a different way now. 20 years in on that show, her energy was so on point. And you're watching an episode 1 and you're like, oh my god, they should have had Kelsey on Top Chef. Like she is perfect,
dude.
Like
the thing is though, when Tom has those moments of being the old Tom now, it's kind of like when Biden had like a coherent sentence at the debate, and you're it's still in there. But then he looked around the room and did his thing, and that's kind of what Tom is for the rest of the episode. To me, that's kind of what it's like. And I'm like, I want a judge that I don't have to like applaud for a moment of clarity. I want someone I can watch for 40 minutes of television.
No. You are forgetting Tom in season 22 of Top Chef. The most recent was really, really good. I think consistently. Season 21, Tom, you're describing a little bit, but I think he was kind of like, this sort of shit. What's going on? Like, I'm not happy. And like, you could see his excitement. I think it's more that they just literally feature Tom less in the edit these days. Whereas Kelsey and Carlton are the faces of the show and like carry its like weight on their shoulders with like real ease and grace, and make it so fun to watch, and make you really. They are the ones I think who like more so than the contestants made me like super excited week to week to watch.
Day to day in this case.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because it's Netflix. Fair enough. I don't know. I also think that like with hosts sometimes and judges, there's an element of like, kind of like when you're voting for president, who would I rather get a beer with? And at this moment in time, I would much rather get a beer with Kelsey and Carlton.
Fair enough.
Than Tom and Gail.
Can't argue with that. A little bit. I would still love a beer with Tom and Gail. Let's be very clear. But Kelsey, just straight up, Kelsey is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
She's just like a lot of fun, man.
Where Kelsey stands. KBC, you're welcome on this podcast anytime. The one thing that made me worry a little bit about this show's longevity potential is the fact that it's all set at CIA.
Yep.
Like, how Top Chef year to year has the benefit of being able to explore a different city with different challenges. This felt like, this was fun for a season, but 2 seasons in, 3 seasons in, what can they do with the CIA?
Yeah, it is a fair point. That is like maybe the one thing where how are they gonna keep it feeling fresh, and if they do decide to keep it in the same setting. I think doing it at a school is really important, because it really is like when at the beginning of the show, you're almost like, there's almost like a Harry Potter-y element to this, right? Like did you read Harry Potter?
Yeah.
You don't sound like
I read the first few books, and then because we were evangelical Christians, I felt guilty and then burned all the books.
You literally burn them? Are you kidding?
I think we maybe just trashed them, but in my mind, I burned them.
Burn them, sure, yeah. That would have been very dramatic and kind of cool if you burned them. I won't lie. But there's like in that they have kind of like intra-school tournaments, right? Like different, and it kind of almost feels like that. And so a school setting is like where the show has to be for like the way it's ethos, the way it's judged, and of course the faculty, right, which we named as such a key thing. I think you're exactly right that, if you get to season 3 and we're going to the egg one more time for the same thing, like how much can they do? Maybe they go to other campuses, right? Maybe they can mix it up in that way. But I think that might be a potential pickup. I'm going to give one nitpick for the show, which is each episode, one or sometimes more contestant is eliminated based on their performance. They quote unquote fail the test, right? And then a few, based on their performance, are given pins of excellence. And they get to carry these pins of excellence on their sort of like collar of their chef jacket throughout the show. Different pins for different different challenges. They're like slightly different colored, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like a badge or a cap for an international like game, right? That you played in and won. The pins have a really weird sort of meaning in the show. Partway through, if you don't have a certain number of pins, you are potentially eliminated. And also at one point in the competition, as punishment for failing a test, a contestant is not eliminated, but they are withdrawn a pin.
Yeah, very
right?
dramatically.
And it's kind of like, it's very dramatically, right? Like you have to give the pin back for your failure, which just made like I was like, what is this? What is like the meaning of a pin really? Like that's like that mechanism of the gameplay just it was cool. It generally worked, but like as the show went on, I was like, what are we really supposed to be taking from it was just a little weird. I was like, what's the significance of having a pin really taken away? Like, what does that mean?
Well, you find out in the finale when it's revealed what like the benefit of having the most pins is. My problem is that I found the benefit to be extremely underwhelming. You know, like I was just kind of like, it's kind of like the benefit you expect and the benefit that every person in the lead of Top Chef gets in the finale too. So yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but essentially like that to me is the bigger problem. It's like, if you're going to make a big deal about these pins, give them something good. I
mean, it's a cool just recognition, just also who's good over the year, right? You get to like see like, oh, like there's one chef early on who gets like right out the gate, she gets a couple pins, right? And everyone's like, she's the best person here. Like there is like weight and respect to like, oh, you're performing the best. That's kind of cool. And yes, you're right. The pins have significance in the finale in one way. I feel like they should come with. There was also like basically no explanation. There was like, you get a pin now, right? And then later it's like, you get a pin taken away. And it's a little just like, okay. But it didn't bother me that much, but it was just a little like clunky. I thought it was a little random.
It's a little bit of a you problem though. I feel like you're somebody who very much likes to have the rules of the road established before you embark on something.
You need clear rules, man. You need to know how to win. How do we win?
Fair enough. Well, we'll get to the spoilery sort of takes after we do Shitty Yelp review, but any final thoughts? Do you recommend it?
I really, we got to hit up compliments to the chef. When are we getting next gen chef episodes?
Yeah.
I think this show is very good. I think it has a ton of potential. I really, really hope they bring it back for multiple seasons. I think it's deserving of it. Go watch it.
Bro, Nancy's in town. She didn't even hit us up. Like, do you think we made a bad impression at Budenoki?
Oh my God. Possibly. You can never rule it out. You can never rule that out.
You could never rule it out. Okay, Next Gen Chef, we recommended. I recommended. I think I honestly had more fun watching this than I did the last season or two of Top Chef. And it may just be because the way my brain is wired now, like being able to binge something gives me a certain level of satisfaction. Definitely recommend. Saul, are you down for a quick round of Chef's Kiss, Big Miss?
Let's do it.
The New York Times' Tejal Rao dropped a very, very, very lukewarm review of Wolfgang Puck's Spago, writing that while it still sparkles with celebrity charm and $130 caviar cannoli, the food sadly no longer leads the show. Rao's review paints a picture of a restaurant coasting on legacy, serving nostalgia more than innovation or irreverence, which were the key ingredients of its meteoric rise. The review doesn't give Spago a star rating, rather just labels it as quote-unquote satisfactory. Saul, is Rao's takedown of this Beverly Hills legend a chef's kiss or a big miss?
I don't know because I haven't eaten at Spago, but I would like to. I will say I trust Tejal's taste and review a lot. I still think I'd enjoy a dinner at Spago, and she basically says it's like a good time as well. It's just the food isn't like, food seems to be maybe a bit stuck and maybe executed at not quite as high a level as you'd hope. I'm more curious as to how they're going about making decisions on what to review for the New York Times in LA and across the country. Like, I almost like, it's cool that they did Spago and went back, but I'm like, I guess more fundamentally not quite as interested in Spago as like a place for commentary versus someplace else, which is fine. I mean, that's just me. But that I think is my main takeaway. I'm gonna withhold judgment on Chef Kiss Big Miss until we go.
I feel like this is the second time that she's done a review kind of like this. She did one of Atelier Cren like a few weeks ago,
right,
where she was basically asking the question, is it still worth it? And then I think Ligaya Michon actually just did one of Alinea too, and also found that it was like pretty underwhelming, right? Yeah. It's kind of like, we get it. It's like,
wait, no. Maybe this isn't like, this is really interesting because they're the new guard at the New York Times and like honestly the food critics of record for the country, kind of, right? Like I would say that they're both their quality and you know the significance of that position is that, and maybe they're noting, like they're doing like a almost level set of like, hey, the last decade or generation of so of food in America was set by these restaurants, your Alineas, your Crens, your Spagos. I mean, Spago's been around longer, but like these are kind of like there, and like where are they at? How do we feel about them? And at the same time, they're bringing in some of their other reviews maybe some of the new and more exciting faces. with the Afro-Caribbean restaurants they've checked out in New York and elsewhere and so on. So anyway, the way you just named that actually made me more into the structure.
Look, I'm a fan of doing both those things, right? Like striking a balance of finding, or not finding the new places, but reviewing the sort of like hot new places and checking back in on the older places. And I actually think that that's something that critics have always done, right? Like critics do revisit places to make sure that they're still living up to standards, that they're, reaching new standards, et cetera, et cetera. I think it makes more sense to do that with Alinea and Atelier Cren than it does Spago. And that's because Atelier Cren and Alinea are still, to some extent, at the peak of their powers. Like they're still being named on massive lists. They still hold Michelin stars. Spago doesn't. Like Spago hasn't been in that echelon for a decade, at least. Like Jonathan Gold still had it pretty high up in his 101 back when he was still compiling the 101, but it's sort of like entered a new era of its life cycle, 44 whatever years in, where it's no longer this like restaurant that is at the same level of the Alineas, of the Atelier Crens. It's kind of grown up with the people who have been going there for decades, and I think that's kind of beautiful in its own way. We always talk about how hard it is for a restaurant to survive. This is a restaurant that has survived, has expanded. Sure, we can quibble with whether the fucking Wiener Schnitzel is a little under-seasoned or whatnot, right? But to me, it's not really about that. People are going there because they've had that same Wiener Schnitzel for decades. That Wiener Schnitzel has not changed in decades. So to me, I felt like this review was a little gratuitous, if I'm being honest.
I see. It's almost like a emeritus restaurant, right? It's like a professor emeritus who's like, we know the deal, but look, they still charge high prices, right? So
right, but they're in the most expensive real estate in Beverly Hills. They're serving a certain type of clientele who can afford that, right? So
and who it's more like I mean, look, it's still, I mean, if the food isn't executed, if the food's not executed, that's like relevant in a review. This review, if the food had been like, this could have been a good review. It wasn't taken for granted that this was going to be like a lukewarm review. If the food and experience had been more consistent and better, it would have been like, hey, guess what? Spago, 44 years later, still hitting on all cylinders. I think that would have been the story. I think it's relevant that was not Tejal's experience, and it's an interesting thing to comment on. I understand Wolfgang's a friend of the pod, so...
Well, yeah, I should say that. He's not a personal friend, although he's been on this show, right? And I think maybe I am a little colored by the fact that I, got to sit down with him and hear his side of the story. By the way, I don't think he's going to be disturbed by this at all, because one thing that was really clear in my conversation with him was that he holds tremendous disdain for legacy media. So I think that he will not give a shit about this. If anything, it'll just reinforce his pre-existing beliefs. But my point is, reviewers and critics have a choice of what to review and what not to review. And I kind of think like, yeah, sure, you can go to Spago and not have a great experience food-wise. Maybe your salmon pate tastes gummy or whatever she called it, right? I just kind of think like, is this newsy? Is this worth writing? And I kind of felt like this wasn't worth writing personally.
I don't know, man. I think it's still interesting. It's an interesting review still. It's interesting to get updates on things that are Hall of Fame restaurants in LA, right, and across the country, so to speak. I understand that your point that the Alineas and the Crens and the French Laundries, also reviewed recently by New York Times, are the ones that were kind of in maybe your 21st century defining restaurants, really. And Spago was more of a 20th century one, but still. I think it was fine. I'm not mad. I mean, that is the beauty of it. All restaurants are fair game when it comes to restaurant critics, and for that, I definitely I appreciate that. Are you really saying you just weren't that surprised that it was lukewarm? That's kind of what you're suggesting, right? That, of course, it was kind of shitty. Yeah. That's kind of That's what I'm saying. That's kind of what I'm saying. I'm kind of I didn't say shitty. You said shitty. I just said you, but
I think it. No, I'm paraphrasing Tejal Rao basically. But what I'm saying is it's a restaurant that serves a certain clientele, and that's its goal. I don't need more than that personally. Like I don't need it. This almost veers into like Olive Garden review territory, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. I will. I want to go to Spago. Let's go to Spago. That's my take.
We should go. And by the way, the one thing that she said was really good is the Kaiserschmarrn, that like really like souffle, fruity dessert, which is like probably the only place in LA you can get that dessert. I did really enjoy that. So noted, we should get that. And frankly, it's a beautiful restaurant. It's a great experience. Wolfgang, and she does say this, is still like meandering around the table saying hi to everybody. And the spectacle alone is something you should go see. It's almost like if you had the chance to go see like Jimmy Carson before he retired, you know, like you should do it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, I'm giving that a big miss. You're giving that a chef's kiss, it sounds like. Moving on, we're a little late to this one, but California locked in outdoor dining for good starting on January 1st, 2026. Under AB 592, restaurants can cook and serve in expanded satellite spaces like sidewalks and parking lots, and a companion bill, AB 671, lets licensed architects fast-track permits, cutting approval times in half. Together, the laws aim to lower costs, speed up openings, and help LA's restaurant scene rebound after years of closures and rising expenses. Saul, Gavin coming to the aid of restaurants. Chef's kiss or big miss?
Big chef's kiss. I think and hope we're going to see more of this, meaning I like ways that that state governments in particular can like fast track and make the process of businesses interacting with government a bit smoother. I think there's kind of an energy around that right now, and it's cool to see stuff like fast tracking permits and cutting approval times in half and finding ways for basically the oversight of restaurant to be smarter but still effective. That's really cool. That's good stuff.
Yeah, it's a chef's kiss. We often shit on our legislators. We need to give them props when they do the right thing. To me, the most important part of this is the part about letting licensed architects fast track permits. I think right now that's just limited to these outdoor spaces and outdoor dining, but I think if that could be applied to other aspects of building out a restaurant, that would be huge. Like the permitting process is such a nightmare. If you can let like licensed professionals do that on their own, like kind of like a notary public, right? But for permits, I think that would be huge in cutting red tape. So I'd love to see that expanded. Okay, chef's kiss. Moving on, the LA Times, Stephanie Braziot and Danielle Dorsey dropped a guide to eating all of your 3 daily meals in LA for under $25. They included spots like Smashburger purveyor The Window and one of my favorite noodle shops in the city, Tam's Noodle House. One thing that struck me about this list is that it kind of looked like I would end the day still pretty damn hungry. So, am I crazy? Were Stephanie and Danielle's picks a chef's kiss or a big miss?
These are chef's kiss. That's just you. There's plenty of food. You got guisados, you got Tams, you got The Window. You're eating fine. You'll be fine. I mean, look, food's expensive, right? Like it maybe is a little light. I'm scrolling through it again. Nah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. This is good for you.
Yeah, you forget though, the Windows burger is a pretty small burger, my dude. It's like they do not.
Did they get fries with it? It's just the burger.
It's just the burger, bro. It's just the burger. Which leads me to my next question: can we do better?
Ooh, I did not prepare homework on that, but you tell me.
Well, lucky for you, I did, okay? Here's my 3 picks for how to eat 3 meals in LA in one day for under $25, okay? You're gonna start the morning with a big-ass breakfast burrito from Tacos Via Corona, either the location in Atwater Village or in Eagle Rock, for $4.79. Off to a fantastic start right there. And you're getting your protein. It's gonna fill you up, okay? For lunch, we're gonna go out to the San Gabriel Valley and we're gonna get a large banh mi at Banh Mi Meito for $8.50, okay? That way you're also getting your veggies in. That was my other gripe with this list. Not a ton of vegetables in this, a lot of carbohydrates. So at least in this sandwich, you get a lot of vegetables. And then for dinner, for $11, you're gonna have the chai chicken rice from Joy in Highland Park. One of the best takeout options and so affordable. It's only $11 and it's excellently executed chicken rice. And the total comes out to $24.29. Pretty good, right?
Okay, not bad. Yeah. I'm trying to do like quick research. I mean, see, yours is good because you got a little bit of diversity, right? You got your 3 meals. I'm looking up Silver Town Burrito 2.0. I'm looking up Holy Basil. That's too expensive.
Yeah, can't do Holy Basil.
Can't do Holy Basil. Yeah. Look, I got my boys at. You hit a taco stand, get a burrito there, and then a couple hole in the walls, and you're good to go.
Yeah,
good to go.
Yeah, you're good to go. The other thing I was considering was like a savory pastry at Santa Canella, the bakery in Highland Park. That's a good way to start the day for like $6 to $7. But personally, I think I nailed it.
Yeah, proud of you, buddy.
Chef's kiss to me.
Chef's kiss to you. Good job. Chef's kiss for this whole concept. This is fun. I would like want to. Yeah, eating with boundaries or eating with restrictions. I guess financially, just an interesting challenge. I've seen some YouTubers try to do this in New York, where they go to different neighborhoods and see like how much they can eat for under $15.
Yeah, don't they just call this eating in Trump's America?
I think it's called eating with a budget, which we I think are not so good at.
Amazing. All right, final one. I'm just going to do this one myself. You don't have to weigh in, but I'd just like to offer a big miss because Axios reports that Trump's government shutdown is on the verge of cutting off SNAP food aid for more than 40 million Americans as early as November. States like Pennsylvania, Texas, and West Virginia are warning residents that benefits won't be disturbed until Congress strikes a deal. But with emergency funds running dry, officials say millions of families could soon face empty EBT cards and empty pantries. So big miss for the 3-week plus shutdown, and please be sure to call your local congressperson, dear listener, to see if we can figure this shit out. So, you got a shitty Yelp review for us?
I was good. I wanted to save the one I've been saving for our 150th episode next week.
Hell yeah.
I think I might do that. I mean, shitty Yelp review. No, I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy.
Yeah, right. I've got another kitchen accident. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, so we were in the desert. My father-in-law was grilling, and I thought, just whip up a little salad, a little something to say, I appreciate you doing the heavy work. I'll make a nice salad on the side to accompany the steak and the sausages. So I've been making this salad along anytime we have like steak, and it's arugula, it's thinly sliced red onion, toasted pistachios, avocado, and a little bit of shaved manchego cheese in like a lemon vinaigrette. You like an arugula salad. This is second, yeah. Love arugula salads. I just love that like arugula accounts for like crunch and pepperiness. It's one of my favorite like flavor profiles. But as I was shaving things very thinly on the mandolin, I'll give you one guess as to what happened. No, come on, dude. You can't do it. This is Mandolin 101, man. Yeah. Gotta be careful. Yeah. Well, needless to say, my pinky finger was a little fucked up off of it. And here's where the really embarrassing part starts, right? I'm a bit of a hypochondriac, right? So my wife bandaged it up for me that night. And I'm going to bed. Like, I'm feeling okay. It's hurting, but it's not that bad. I've taken a couple Advils. I wake up the next morning and I take off the Band-Aid, and the thing looked like out of like Frankenstein. It looked like it was disgusting, and I freaked out. I forced my wife to take me to the urgent care, and we get to the urgent care on a Sunday morning and see the doctor, and the doctor goes, "Yeah, this isn't that bad." And to add insult to injury, that not only did they not stitch it up, they gave me something called butterfly stitches, which has to be the most emasculating thing you can put on your finger, I think. Wait, so did you actually get a stitch? I got butterfly stitches. They're basically just like thin little Band-Aids. You'll see them tonight. Oh wow. Yeah. You're a little bit of a wuss. That's okay. I mean, I hate that experience of like I've done this a couple times in the last 2 years where like something hurts or like you feel kind of off and you go to the urgent care. Oh no, it happened because I had like a weird like almost callus on my hand, but it felt like a bump, right? Like a tumor shit or something. And I'm like go in, I'm like Googling all the shit it could be, and I go and like hold my hand out, and like in the real moment you're like, this is nothing, isn't it? I can go. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for when the doctor walks in, I'm like, I'm sorry for taking your time. Bro, I can get out of here. Yeah. I once did this when I was growing up because I could have sworn I had testicular cancer. Like I thought I had testicular cancer. I went to the doctor as like a 15-year-old. Literally had the doctor inspect my testicles to only say, "You're fine." That has to be one of the most embarrassing things that can happen. Dude, that experience where you just feel a little bump.
on your balls, and you're like, oh fuck, oh shit, and then literally the way I deal with it, and it's like, we'll see what happens. I'm not getting this checked out. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. That's usually the best way to do things. All right, let's give a couple spoilerful takes on Next Gen Chef. Dear listener, if you haven't watched it, I advise tuning out now. Saul, did the right person win?
Yeah, I think Andrew was the deserving winner. Who the fuck is listening to this now? The way you're supposed to do this, just so you know, is have the non-spoiler conversation and go, okay, heads up, we're going to do spoilers, skip ahead X minutes if you don't want to hear them.
I already said that at the start.
No. I meant but we don't do the whole other conversation in between. We just talk about Next Gen Chef in one block, spoilers, non-spoilers, and spoilers. Because now, who's going to care? Anyway, Andrew.
All right, we fucked
Andrew
up.
from Per Se wins Next Gen Chef. Kind of the strongest, I think, contestant throughout. In fact, if anything, I wish he'd been featured more. I thought his fast casual concept deserved to win. I know they really loved the meat pie, but I think over the Filipino food, I might have chosen Andrew's Southern salad concept with his great story about losing so much weight. I thought he was compelling front to back.
You know why they didn't pick that? Because ain't nobody buying that.
No, I thought
that is a concept that is great in concept. Horrific in practice.
Think so?
If you go to the South, yes, dude.
I mean, yeah. That's probably fair.
I've only been to the South on a handful of times, but I can tell you, that in the South, that shit would not fly.
What was it? What was the name of the chef? The one who the African American female who was like really strong throughout and one of the finalists, was it Courtney? Courtney, I thought was actually going to win. I think has the most natural cooking talent, it seems, and I'm really excited for what comes next from Courtney. I think she is someone who could graduate. Oh my God. I have to say, Emily just threw this idea out there, and it while we were watching, and it kind of blew my mind because, and I took it and ran, where I was like, dude, what if there was a football pyramid, like an ancient pyramid for food competition? Emily was like, it seems like this show, if you win this show, you should get brought into like Top Chef. Like there should almost be like a Iron Chef at the top or something, Top Chef, Next Gen Chef, like ladder, where like every year a group of contestants could compete and then like go up and down the ladder. You know what I'm saying? Like just a little idea that doesn't really work if you think about it too much, but like something that I thought was really cool. Yeah. What do you think? I'm assuming you thought Andrew should.
I mean, it was just so obvious that Andrew was going to win from like day one. Like he was the Manchester City of this competition. He was just like,
it was that I wouldn't go that far.
Dude, the moment it said like sous chef per se, and then you saw the food he was making, the one stumbling block he had, and I don't think he ever overcame it, was I don't think the dude can do the thing that is so important in these shows and tie flavor to narrative.
Yeah,
like I just don't think he could do that. Like he did it
a little bit. He did it on his restaurant, his fast casual restaurant. Yeah, and there was another one he did. His dad's fajita, I thought was a pretty good one.
Yeah, the dad's fajita one hit, and that was the one time he did it. But like Mom's Garden Vegetable or whatever, they were all like, "Yeah, this is kind of shit."
Yeah,
and so like it was just the fact that he was per se and had that technique throughout. Like, that's what won him the competition fundamentally, and to me that was just obvious from day one.
That he had the best techniques and the most consistent execution. Sure, I think some of the challenges he didn't have the most pins like at really any point in the competition. Courtney, I think, really stood out, and even Joaquin from Charlie Parker had like more consistent. He just really couldn't bake for shit, sadly. But like, I think there was good competition throughout. Even though it was evident that Andrew was probably the best representative for the first season of the show as winner, right? He's kind of the person who I think you'd want to identify. By the way, we didn't mention the guest judges on the show. Pretty good. Netflix has a lot of pull through Chef's Table and other stuff. Getting Kwame Onwuachi, getting
Thomas
Keller in the finale. Yeah. They had a consistent run of really strong. Even Dale Taldy, I'm a huge fan of him.
Yeah.
So it's just consistently
we like Dale.
Good. Yeah,
we're fans of Dale.
Yeah. So
no, it was. And then did you see Ann Burrell was there too?
Yep.
R.I.P.
Yeah, that's right. The table of judges for the finale was like pretty impressive, man. That was like a Last Supper like level of like quality across the top.
Truly, no. My favorite contestant was Elka. Like, and that's where like. I mentioned her earlier, but she's the South African Namibian who grew up in the South. So she had just really interesting food. And I think she was able to tie her story to technique. Just the biggest mistake picking Abby on your team. Is Abby the worst contestant we've ever seen on one of these shows?
I wouldn't go. She was out of her depth. She survived in the show longer than she probably should have. Dude, Abby going nonverbal on the fast casual challenge. Oh my God. I mean, I think this poor girl is like responsible for being like front of house for a restaurant that's not hers. And she just like, I literally was like, what are you doing? You like, or not just put the meat pie in the thing and hand it to the people. How can this be happening? She
froze, dude. She froze.
Was wild. So poor girl. I felt bad for her, but yeah, she's a little bit out of her depth. Ilka, real quick. This is not on her. It's totally fine. White family in South Africa, bro. You know what's up. Like, you know what's going on, right? That food is kind of not her food. You know what is her food? Dutch food. Dutch food is her food. Is Ilka's food. That food is South African food that she's taking, and I get it. She's from there. It's legit. Like, you can't argue it. But like, she gets on the stream like, yeah, my family's from South Africa, and the baby like, oh my God, your family been doing some shit. I bet, man. Like, what's that? I don't know her.
You don't know her whole background. You don't know that.
I'm being a little bit unfair.
Yeah, not an insane. It's not an insane take, but yeah, it's. I just thought it was interesting. And then the most annoying chef to me was the guy from Colorado with the ponytail who thought he was like the second coming.
Actually, kind of liked him at the beginning.
Really?
I thought he was like actually more. I thought he was one thing, and they ended up being something else. Like at the beginning, the chef, I think his name is Peter, is one of the leaders, like one of the top chefs, basically right out the gate. Other chefs in the show are like, I thought he was gonna rub me the wrong way, but then he ended up being really helpful, and then he kind of just falls apart and can't really take feedback in an effective way. And so he goes. No, there were like, look. There was a broad range of like skill set of these contestants, which was interesting, which was cool. You had a Frontera Grill representative, which I thought was interesting as well. Yeah.
That was good. Yeah. I mean, we love it. We love Frontera Grill on this podcast.
We do.
I'm joking. He's like enemy number one of like Acquired Taste Media Network. We have some enemies. I'd say we have like probably a dozen enemies at this point.
A dozen? I thought we had like 4.
You think 4? Yeah, probably like 4. 4 is a solid number.
4 or 5. Yeah. No, a lot of fun, man. I hope they come back soon with this.
I think so too. You know what? I hope it was successful because we know that with these kinds of shows that hit it big, like Love is Blind, they can pump out like 3 seasons a year. I would take 3 seasons a year of this.
100%.
Yeah. All right, Next Gen Chef, go watch it. By the way, dear listener, it's our 150th episode next week. We're doing our first ever Q&A. I also said that in the intro, so you already know that. Go ahead and submit your questions. We'll be answering them all episode. And thank you for listening. And Saul, I'll see you here in about 51 minutes.
51 minutes, buddy. Cafe Triste. Let's do it.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the LA Food Podcast. Thanks as always to Father Saul for making the time for us, and thank you to you, dear listener, for streaming and being with us for 149 episodes. Again, 150th episode next week. It's going to be Q&A, so be sure to submit those questions on Instagram to me at the LA Countdown or at It's Acquired Taste. If you like what you heard today, please go to wherever you listen to podcasts, leave us a rating or review. Seriously, we really appreciate it. And we'll be back next week. If you're looking for me in the meantime, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, even our website at the LA Countdown. You can also find us at It's Acquired Taste on Instagram and at acquiredtastemedia.com.